Okay, I'm going to take the Tailwind UI sign in and registration, this right here, and we're going to bring this over to Devise. And then again, this is the Rails 6 application we're going over. And I'm going to take this form and make it for the Devise sign in and login. And we're going to try to reuse as much code as possible. Okay. Now, I mean, the thing a little bit with Tailwind is it's very verbose, right? It's all in the markup. As opposed to centralizing your styles in a style sheet. Okay, so how can we do that? Keep things in line, keep the CSS in line with Tailwind, yet have smart reusability. So I'm going to just show you, I'm learning all this now. This is the first larger project I'm doing with Tailwind, and then Tailwind UI just came out, so still learning. So yeah, but let's just go over some different ways. So you'll see that this code, like all Tailwind CSS code, is very verbose. Okay, so it's it's not ideal, and you don't want to repeat these kinds of things all over the place, especially if you're going to have two, a sign up form and a sign in form that are very similar. That they're going to have, and let's just go over here now to this is the app, the Rails 6 app I'm working on. So here we have sign up. All right, and again, this is I'm using Devise. And I'm also going to have an Intuit sign in here too with OmniAuth. And also we have a login. All right, so we got login and sign up. And you can see that we're sharing a lot of stuff here. All right, so we want to reuse as much of this as we can. Now here are some strategies that I'm coming up with. And let's take a look. So here is my view for a login. Okay, it's looking pretty good, right? Not a lot of verbosity or something. And here is the Rails, so the ERB file for a sign up. All right, and let's look at a couple things that I've kind of settled on so far. Now, in the label back over in Tailwind UI, let's look at the code. So the label has a decent amount of classes here. Not too bad. Even if you repeated this, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But they're all the same, as you can kind of quickly see. So we don't have to write it out. And if we wanted to make a small change to it, we don't have to do it in 3-4 places. So one approach is to make a helper. I'm calling this Tailwind Helper. And just simply make just class methods that, just boom, have all of your Tailwind CSS code there. I also have the button, which is down. That's going to be in the shell. Okay, no, here it's right here. So I made a method for that called full width button, and that has a little more. It's got an argument, so you can kind of, just put it in like that. I could change the color of the button. As in the future, I could just add more arguments, and I mean, it's kind of similar to using Sass, a Sass function, but Ruby's better at functions and methods than Sass is. So I think this is a totally legitimate method to organize and dry up your Tailwind code. I have the same thing here for field. Okay. Like again, this is not taking any arguments yet, but as the project goes on, I may decide to do a couple things with the color, the placeholder, or something like that. Going back, let's go back and look at this one. This one is it's not going to take a block. It's just taking an argument here, but it's doing like a wrap because yeah, like this code I wanted to right here. These wraps for the form inputs. these form inputs. I wanted to wrap that up too. That may change. I will maybe make some modifications there. So let's see that code. Okay, so it's right there. And then I'm simply just doing this, and I'm just sticking the form object there as the first argument. Okay, and it's making that wrapper code. So, maybe I'm getting too fancy there. I don't know. Like, again, I'm still learning. So that's that. Now, the bigger deal, and a lot where more code is being saved, is this kind of boilerplate here. All right, like I want this code that makes this stuff. Like I want to reuse that. And there's quite a bit of code there. Like, see how we sign up, then it says login, and we keep the logo. Ideally we're going to keep this. Like this is staying the same. The Intuit sign in button. This is like what you're supposed to use with Intuit. It's either sign in or sign up with Intuit. So these should be standardized too. These are from Devise. Like if you're doing a login, you get the forget your password link. If you're doing sign up, you don't get that. You get the login. If you're doing login, you get sign up link, and vice versa. So that would be great to just have this shared between the two forms. Okay, and to do that, if you're not familiar with using like a capture block in ERB, here is where you'll be introduced to it. So I made what I call a form shell under Devise shared form shell. And you pass a capture, it's a captured block, okay, of code. And you stick all your ERB into these brackets, ending right here, the capture block here. And the form shell just looks like this. And forget this a second, I'm just doing an RE Captcha. And but here's this kind of code here, this header code, this footer code, so to speak, and these guts in here are going to be unique. But we're going to reuse, this header and footer stuff in this form shell. And where's the capture? Okay, here's the Intuit sign in. All right. We have shared links from Devise that I just showed you, and here's where the captured block goes in. You just pump it right in the middle there, and that way we're reusing that Tailwind code, and you can see how simple we are here. We're reusing some of the stuff in line, but we're sharing a lot of the Tailwind UI code there, okay? So that keeps it a bit clean. Now you can also do this. I'm not having great success with this, but you can put things in style sheets. So I have, I'm using SCSS for my application SCSS file in Webpacker. And, just have the import. Got to have this first if you're going to do this kind of stuff that I'm about to show you. I just made a form.scss. I just made a class called TW Field, and I'm just kind of experimenting. You do this apply stuff. Though I've had problems with it. Like, this works fine, these amount of Tailwind help utilities, but then it failed when I used placeholder gray, and I think it had something to do with it being a pseudo class. I'm forgetting the name. Focus, a pseudo element, or what is it called in CSS? So I'm not having great success, but you can use apply, and there's in Tailwind CSS it has how you can use and use these helper methods right in your CSS too. So I may experiment more with that, but again, I don't know if I'm going to go that route. I think I just would use Ruby to reuse Tailwind stuff right now. I don't see a reason to go to SCSS and to do a bunch of this, because we can just centralize it in the Ruby code. I think in a way like this is like I don't know if your designers are really want to go this to CSS and SCSS, maybe that's the reason to put it back there. But I don't know how much more I will experiment with this approach. But you can also do this approach. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so that's yeah, using Tailwind UI, the form login there, and then using it for a Devise both login and sign up in Rails 6. Thanks for watching.